Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
I heard Yogesvara. I came running in. And so this is the first time I'm talking to Prabhupada. And he's sitting on a cushion like this. Pardon me imitating. But he was sitting like this with one leg up, and his hand was in his bead bag. And he was tracing circles on his head, like this. And his eyes were closed. And he looked at me. He didn't look at me. His eyes were still closed. He said, you know, throughout my entire life, I have never forgotten Krishna. And then he opened his eyes and held his hand out like this. He said, even when I was a boy, I had my dolls. He called them his dolls. And he showed me about how tall, maybe this far off the floor. That's another one of those things. Why? Was he concerned that maybe I had doubts about him? That he needed to reassure me that it's okay for me to give my life to him? That he's not going to harm me? We were talking about this earlier with Hari Suri and I, about what is it that you remember about Prabhupada? The overwhelming sensation is a person of authority who will never hurt you. He will never hurt you. That this person has only my well-being at heart. He would never do anything to hurt me. And that was the sensation at that moment, that if he's bothering to tell me this, it's because he's confirming for me, it's okay. It's all right. We'll continue on together as spiritual master and disciple. You have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. Those memories, you know, it's taken 40 years for me to actually come to a point of understanding some of these memories.
During Prabhupada's departure, or just prior to his departure, we've all seen pictures of it, but to actually see Prabhupada in person like that, it was mind-boggling. It tore your heart right out. And, but the amazing thing is that Prabhupada, even though he had that condition, he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam, he was running the movement, he was cracking jokes, he was telling jokes. And it was just phenomenal how he could do everything. Even translating his books, he couldn't even pick up the dictaphone. Someone had to pick the dictaphone up. But his consciousness was crystal clear. It was crystal clear. It's amazing. And one day we're sitting there, and then Prabhupada, right out of the blue, he started to talk. He said, I've given you this big ISKCON movement. If you can, please expand it. He said, at least maintain it. Don't let this decrease. And then he said, please cooperate, as he said so many times. And then Prabhupada started to cry. And then everyone in the room actually started crying. That was probably the most painful moment of my life, to see Prabhupada cry. So we have this movement, it's Prabhupada's movement, you know, we have the good, we have the bad, we have the ugly, but we just have to be determined. Never, never leave ISKCON movement. We just have to always try to push it forward. You know, if there's a problem, push it forward. Because when you leave ISKCON, you make Prabhupada cry. So let's make Prabhupada happy and push on Krishna consciousness to every town and village.
Je anilo prema dana karuna Jai Anilo